Welcome into WagerTalk Last Call. Kelly Stewart here on the Sunday morning, filling in for Ariel Epstein. We're going to go over the NFL slate. We got a star-studded show. We're going to start off with VR, and we're going to talk to him about what he's seeing here on this NFL Sunday leading into kickoff. You guys will be able to get on his Steam room right after. It's going to be free to everyone. We'll get into those details here a little bit later on. Then we've got John Murray from the Westgate Superbook to get a look behind the counter. Marco D'Angelo, our third leg here of Bet On It, will be available to answer all of your questions. If you guys do have a question, drop it in the chat. That's why we're here. We've got the Odds Logic screen open. If you guys have not tried Odds Logic, you can get a week free right now. oddslogic.com/Kelly in Vegas. Let's get into it. We're going to bring VR in here. I know he's got a ton of work still left to do leading up to kickoff and before he brings all of you guys in to the Steam room today for free. VR, we've got 2 hours until kickoff. What is your Sunday like looking up until kickoff? I've got all my bets in. I put in my teasers before the show. We've got 4 teaser legs available for today. Kind of give everybody like a little bit of walkthrough of what you're doing here this morning.
When it comes to the NFL, I've placed a handful of bets. I think 4 or 5 already, like positions that I felt confident with that we got down early. But today is when the bulk of the public money comes in. And it's so overwhelming that it forces a lot of line moves. Also, a lot of the late information, like we saw with the Pittsburgh and Chicago. Once there's confirmation on Rodgers being out, boom, you see line movements. So today it's all about trying to read the market and take advantage of these late overreactions for myself, and then making sense of all the info coming in. Like, what are they doing with it? Is this a buyback from earlier in the week? Is this a middle position? Because I don't have time to talk to these guys. Why are you taking it? So I have to filter quickly. Why is this bet being placed? What do I do with it? Do I piggyback it more for myself? Do I send it to subscribers as well? Is there more EV? How far is the line going to move? Like, all these things I'm trying to analyze as quickly as possible, because the information is so time sensitive with a lot of it. Like, when you know the market's going to move, you don't really have time. You got to have those factors quickly.
Let's talk about that market move, right? We've got a lot of things in play here with the Steelers-Bears game, right? So we know Aaron Rodgers is out. We know it's going to be Mason Rudolph. Let's talk about not only that situation from a line move perspective. We know Tomlin as an underdog is great. And as I mentioned, I put in those Steelers teasers this morning, and now I'm feeling a little uneasy.
Yeah. See, I like Chicago coming in. Here's my problem. I like Chicago, and I like the over as well in that game. That's where I was leaning, trying to get any kind of confirmation to get conviction to place that bet. Earlier in the week, I saw that there was steam on the Steelers at 3. So they were looking to get the Steelers at 3. I wasn't surprised to see Chicago get hit early. The look ahead was like 1.5, 2, 2.5, something like that. So it went to 3. But that's when I saw steam on the Steelers. So that scares me off of my Chicago side, but I'm still liking the over. Then obviously the Rodgers situation throws a wrench into it with the total and the side. So I'm forced where I'm probably going to sit it out. I haven't taken a position. Gun the head, I still like Chicago because I think there is a drop off. Like, that's the connection that's what you have to factor in, forgive me, between the number 1 and number 2. What is the replacement player worth? Because more times than not, we overreact. Like, we think Tom Brady's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's worth a touchdown. Well, it depends who's behind him. You know what I mean? And in this situation with Mason Rudolph coming in, if you look at his passing success rate, if you look at his QBR and you compare it to Rodgers, even of this year, it's a drop off. And that's where I get even more conviction with Chicago. But here's the problem I'm having. Why is it still 2.5 juiced? Why is it 3 even money? Like, they're kind of enticing Chicago action, even with the Pittsburgh situation. So it seems to me they want to stay on the side of that early steam on Pittsburgh, and they're fine booking the Chicago action. Otherwise, you're at 3 juiced, not the other way around. So me reading this line, it tells me to stay off of my Chicago side. The total came down, so got some respect, obviously, without Rodgers. I don't think it's warranted. The total, I still lean over. But that's my problem. Like I don't have that
Yeah,
confirmation.
I know you guys do a lot with power ratings. Do you have like Kenny White back in the day when I worked with him at Don Best? He had a quarterback drop-off rating. I'm talking college football, NFL, it did not matter. So you could say Aaron Rodgers to Mason Rudolph to so-and-so to so-and-so, all the way down the depth chart. When you guys do your power ratings, do you guys include that? Do you have a drop-off from Aaron Rodgers to Mason Rudolph today?
Yeah, no, the guy that I work with that gives me his power rating is just a math guy, doesn't even bet. I have to send him the information. Like, this is who's coming in. This is who's behind him. Put that into your whatever you do with it and let me know what you think the difference is. But what he does is he just comes up with a readjusted power rating for the entire team. And that Pittsburgh has been downgraded because of the Mason Rudolph situation. So he downgraded Pittsburgh about a point, almost a point and a half completely. And for him, that's huge because that's the entire team power rating that he adjusted down a point and a half. So that's almost like a field goal to the line. And I'm not seeing that on the line. So like everything tells me to bet Chicago, except what I'm seeing in line movement. I'd feel more comfortable seeing 3 minus 120. I'd be at the window already. But seeing 2.5 at Penny minus 120, seeing 2.5 minus 125 at Bet Online, 2.5 minus 20 at Circa, that doesn't make me confident with Chicago. Even the -3 at my sharp shop, he's giving it at even money. That doesn't give me any confidence that his power rating is on point, because this should be moving Chicago up to 3.5.
Yeah, listen, I would agree with you, and we'll see what John Murray has to say here in just a little bit about what they've got going on over at the Westgate. But one of the cool things about the Odds Logic screen is that you can choose the books you want. So you're listing all the books that I have as well. When those sharp shops, whether it's some of the prominent offshores or some of the prominent Vegas shops, like a Circa, a Westgate, a Pinnacle, what have you, I think that kind of tells a story. Mac Hudson's in the comment section. He said, our opinion is really irrelevant. The market tells the truth. And I think that's exactly...
Well said.
I think that's exactly what we are seeing here in terms of this game. But I want to move on because we only have 12 more minutes or so with you. And I want to hit up some of these other games. Kind of let everybody know really quickly, though. In the Steam room, you're going to kind of get into the nuts and bolts, and you're going to answer all these guys' questions. I'm going to save all the other game questions for Marco here later on. I want to kind of talk more market stuff with you and John Murray early, and then you can kind of break down your theories, your power ratings, and stuff like that in the Steam room, since it is free for everyone today. So let everybody know the Steam room starts here in 52 minutes.
And we are going to go through every NFL game as much as time permits. Side, total, player props. We'll put those plus EV teasers together about 15 minutes before kickoff. And I'm there to answer all questions, whether it's Survivor contest, risk management, whatever you have for me, I'm there. I work for you for 60 minutes. But today, more importantly, I'm going to explain the Steam sheet that's coming out every single day. That's gold. And I'm perfecting it with Johnny to where my premium will be a lot less volume, because that Steam sheet now gives me an outlet to share all that gold. Like, I haven't released one college basketball.
Go back for everybody that doesn't know what the Steam sheet is. We didn't even talk about it this week on Bet on It because I wasn't sure if it was going to be out this week. Starting this week, you guys are putting together a one-page sheet of all of the sharp action. And who's that available for?
Anybody. And subscribers already have it because we put it on one of the plays that's already in there. So they get a premium play. Like yesterday it was Wisconsin, a 4% on Wisconsin. They got that for free. And then I get to go in there, Kel, and add everything that's coming in. So like right now I have for them like 10 college basketball games, 4 NBA games, an NHL game.
And this is for everyone. So you just go to your homepage on WagerTalk, WT.buzz /
and I get to keep going in and adding stuff. So all the player props will be in there, all NFL stuff that like I'm not using, everything. So now I don't have to like Jones that I'm leaving money on the table. Now I know my subscribers see it. They could use it how they see fit, but it's going to be so much freaking information. Like if you're handicapping your own stuff, you're going to want to use it for confirmation, because you could just check back and see, did they get on it? Are they opposite of it? Like it's going to be loaded with info. And then I could just narrow down the top like 4% as premium stuff, because they've been the most profitable, and that's what I want to key in with my subscribers. Just
Okay,
zero in on that and not give them so much
WT.buzz.
volume.
Absolutely. So Steam Room today is WT.buzz SR for Steam Room, and then the date 11/23. You guys will also be able to find it right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So make sure you guys check that out as well. And then for your Steam report, they can go to your homepage at WagerTalk WT.buzz/VR, correct?
Indeed. Yep.
Okay.
Thank
Perfect
you.
stuff. Perfect stuff. We're going to get into some more stuff here with VR for you guys and kind of answer some of these questions. There's a couple of games that I have a question about, but
Please.
this is the worst game on the board, right? Marco talked about it on Bet on It. And he said, would you rather get kicked in the nuts or punched in the mouth? I can't remember what he said because he said, this is how awful this game is. But I'm over here. I'm looking at BetMGM. I'm looking at Circa. I'm looking at the FanDuel DraftKings of the world, all of these guys that report, if you will, on the percentages. And the whole world is on the Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders. I get it. Hand up. I do not want to lay points with the Raiders, VR. But I'm not so sure I'm trusting a rookie quarterback in his first start here on the road.
I could not agree more with you. It almost looks like an overreaction. Like, wait, the Raiders, what business does a Las Vegas team that has 2 wins on the season have any business at all being over a field goal favorite? But that's exactly the situation. It's a fade of Shedeur. That's what they're telling you. This is an auto fade of Sanders. And listen, it's a slight overreaction because, again, we only saw the guy come in and attempt 16 passes. But when you complete only 4 of them and you look that lost and you average 2 yards per pass attempt, the market has to overreact. How could they not? This is the scariest situation for the books because they don't know. We may look back 6 weeks from now, a year from now, and be like, dude, this line should have been Saints -7.5. What are you talking about? Or we may look back and be like, how are the Saints even favored? What business do they have being favored? That's the problem, that we don't have enough data on Sanders to draw many conclusions. But from what we did see, it wasn't promising. It wasn't good. And like, what is his progression that he's going to progress to? That's the problem I'm having. I couldn't bet Cleveland plus the points here on the road with found money. Am I excited to bet the Raiders? No, not excited to bet the Raiders. But I don't think it's a terrible spot for them at home. Again, Cleveland's as weak of a team as you're going to get. They haven't won a single road game. The 2 wins of the season, both of them came at home. If you're going to fade them, this is when you're going to want to fade them on the road.
Let's talk about that. I apologize, guys. I'm at my dad's house, so my odds logic screen, I got Slack. I got X's down for whatever godforsaken reason on NFL Sunday. So I've got a lot of things. VR, I know you've got your odds logic screen open. Because everybody's betting the Browns, and if they're betting the Browns, they are betting them on the money line. Is it better to back the Raiders money line or Raiders -3? Kind of break down that math and explain what you would do if you were to bet the Raiders.
Right now, I would be on Raiders -3, -120 because it's available. In fact, I would lay up to -130, almost 129, 130 to get that -3. As opposed to laying that 3.5. If I could get 3.5 plus 105, that's different. Lay the 3.5 all day. But I don't see that. I'm seeing 3.5s with like -105s. I'd rather lay the 3 juiced, even as opposed to the money line. Because looking at the money line right now, the lowest money line I see out there is at the Square Shop, which is -166. You guys, I don't need to call them out. You guys can look on by yourselves. The sharper shop out there has -180, if that tells you anything. So the book that is most respected in this NFL game has 180. The book that's least respected has 166. So they are blasting the money line on the dog as far as the public goes. You are absolutely right. Exactly what you said is happening in real time. It's reflected in our odds logic screen. And that doesn't bode well for Cleveland. Another spot where just reading the market, I don't like how that looks at all. I like Vegas. I'm liking Vegas more and more. believe it or not.
I may have to have a couple margaritas before I can bet Vegas. That's how unappetizing that game is for me. One of the other games I want to talk about, we saw a ton of steam. The Lions opened as 10.5-point favorites over the New York Giants, 13.5. So I'm on a bunch of splash contests. I'm in the Westgate Super Contest. I'm in the Circa Millions as well. And I told my partner in the Circa Millions, I said, we have to use the Lions. We're getting 3.5 points of value here, essentially. And I used them in the Westgate Super Contest and a couple splash contests as well. Kind of talk about, are you too late to the party to back the Lions? Does that now have you looking towards the Giants? I love me some Jameis Winston, but you just never know what you're going to get with that guy.
Yeah. Kelly, you placed a great bet. You did what you're supposed to do. You got to stay aligned in the NFL. Even if it's a 1 point off, you have to take it. That's how tight the NFL lines. So there's nothing wrong with the bet you placed. The problem is it's Sunday morning, and anyone going to the window right now and laying 14s, because that's what I'm seeing, because 13.5 minus 120, 125, or 115s or whatever is 14. Anything greater than 13.5 minus 115, minus 116, you're laying 14, whether you know it or not. Now, with that said, there's absolutely no reason you should be laying 14 today when a week ago you could have got 10.5. A couple days after that, you could have got 11, 11.5, 12, 12.5, 13. You see where I'm going with this? You had all week to get a better number. Why would you want to lay it right now? It's almost like those that were buying Bitcoin at 126 because they were so sure it's going to 250. They have a decision to make this morning when they look up and it's 85,000. Those that bought it at 50,000, they don't give a shit. Sure, they lost some equity because they no longer doubled their money, but they're still in the driver's seat. Why? Because they traded from a position of strength. And if you're betting Detroit this morning, you're not betting from no position of strength. You're laying 14. You're the last of the party. If anything, it's Giants or pass at this spot right now. And it sounds crazy to say that, but if you're betting for profit, it's take the 14 or leave it alone. I bet the over in this game. I'll let you know that. I gave it out to subscribers as well. It didn't go into the package because it's only a 3% play, not a 4% or higher. But we did go over 50 in that game. It's up to like 51, 51.5. So I feel good with it. Sounds square, obviously. We didn't get the great number. There were 49s earlier in the week. But I'm on the over in that game. And I'm probably going to pull the trigger on the Giants, to be honest with you. Because when 14 gets discounted, how could I pass that up?
Yeah, I kind of understand that. Okay, well then kind of talk me off maybe using the Lions and Survivor. I know if you have them in Circa, you probably want to save them for Thanksgiving, which is next week. So I don't know if you really do. I'm in a double pick week right now in Splash. So I'm thinking I want an easy week, no sweat. I'm thinking I go Raiders, Lions. Tell me what can go wrong.
No, you go Lions for sure. Listen, the Lions are a top 5 power rated team. They have a top 10 toughest strength of schedule. They're both in the top 10 in offense and defense. They're as legit as they come. You want to take that team. You want them in your Survivor contest today for sure. The difference is I have them power rated at no higher than minus 11. That's the highest I can get. And should have been about 10, 10.5. Juiced a little bit for recency bias up to 11.5, 12 maybe. But now where it sits at 14, it's just way too high against this New York Giants team, which let me remind you, they may not have been looking all that great, but they've had the third toughest schedule in the NFL. Like they've played the hardest possible schedule, and that's why this record reflects what it does. But I just think 14 is way too high now. And like I said, my power ratings now give me about a field goal edge. I have to take it. I don't have a choice.
Okay, well, these guys, these are the questions you can personally ask VR in the Steam Room coming up next. He's going to be on in 40 minutes live with you guys, WT.buzz/SR1123. And it is open to everybody. So not only premium subscribers, not only WagerTalk insiders, but everybody gets it today. Speaking of being a WagerTalk insider, WT.buzz/insiders. I'll drop it in the chat. $2.99 a month gets you premium access to all things WagerTalk here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. I think X is working now because now we've almost got 3,000 people watching live. So shout out to all of you guys. Marco D'Angelo just popped in the studio, but we're still waiting on John Murray. So until John Murray pops in so he can give us a look behind the counter, we're going to answer a couple more thoughts on this NFL Sunday. Then we're going to let Marco kind of get to all of the questions here. Let's see. What do we got? I'm going to take one more question here for VR. Let's talk about this game. One of the guys says Chiefs money line. I gave out the Chiefs -3.5 as my best bet on Bet On It. If you guys missed that show, I'm 1-5 in my last 6 best bets. Barking dogs, kicking ass. Best bets, not so much. So VR, I'm a little like, I've just been running hot in the best bet department, but I like this buy low spot here on the Chiefs. Talk to me about Colts at the Chiefs today.
Yeah, a lot of sharp bettors are on the exact same side. It worries me a little bit when today I started seeing some guys I respect picking off the Indianapolis side, saying like, yeah, when they see all these sharps on one side with Kansas City, it kind of scares them a little bit. Here's the thing. It's hard to fade Indianapolis. Like, what has this team done wrong? They've won 8 of 10 games. They've covered, 7 of 10, 8 of 10 with a push. It's hard to bet against them, but it is Kansas City. Power rating wise, they're higher than I think most would expect based on their record. A 5-5 team usually isn't as high power rating as they are. And right now, I'll tell you, I have Kansas City as the 5th most highest power rated team. So only 4 teams would be favored over them on a neutral field. And Indianapolis just isn't one of those. And that's when you factor in home field advantage, which Kansas City has, about a 2 point something. It makes sense. That's why I do like the Kansas City side. I think it's a statement game for them. The negative is they're going to get Indianapolis's, full attention. Because for Indianapolis, this is a playoff game. Like, for them to show legitimacy at 8-2, to go into Kansas City and beat Kansas City, that's a big statement for your team as we approach the final, quarter of the season. So that worries me a little. We're going to see really what Indianapolis is made of. I know most sharps are like, they're a little bit over. They're not a real 8-2 team. They've gotten a little bit lucky. I think we're going to find out today a lot about Indianapolis, but I'm with you. I like Kansas City. I think until that nail in the coffin for that team is there, you're still hard to fade, because even in the 2 games they've lost now, it's by 1 score, Kel. They were favorites to win those games, -2.5, -4.5. They were close games. Both were on the road as well. It was at Buffalo, at Denver, not easy places at all. You have Buffalo, we know who Buffalo is, and then Denver's a divisional game. So that's why I think we got a good spot to bet Kansas City, where they look to be down and out. But those were 2 very difficult games, and now they return home, where in their last 2 home games, they outscored their opponent 60-something to 7. So I like KC here with you. I like the over also. I think that's a little bit short. I know how good Kansas City's defense is. But Indy does have the offense to put up points, and we know Kansas City's going to score at home.
Yeah, super contrarian, especially because they've been dead on under teams all season long. I'm on Kansas City today. Let's get VR out of here. He's got to get ready for the steam room. WT.buzz/SR1123 at Greek_gambler on social media, and WT.buzz/VR if you guys want to go check out his free picks page, where you can get his steam report every single day now on the WagerTalk website. Thank you to VR. We'll see you on Tuesday for the Thanksgiving edition of Bet On It, where me, him, and Marco are going to just go over those 3 Thanksgiving games for you guys early. We're going to bring in Marco after we bring in the man himself, John Murray. John Murray, welcome in. I know that you were expecting Ariel this morning, and I didn't tell you that I was hosting because, well, you wouldn't have been here.
Where is Ariel?
She's at a bris.
What about, if Ariel's not available, what about that kid I did the show with a few weeks ago, Dan? I liked him.
Dan's cool. Dan, I'm gonna give him a day off every once in a while, so I try to make it be Sundays.
What's the pecking order? Are you third?
On Sundays, I think I'm second.
Second, and what's the pecking order on Sean Hannity behind? It's like Clay Travis.
I'm like 80th on Sean Hannity. I am like, hey, please, everybody else is completely unavailable. Will you come in for 7 whole seconds?
You never sent me that clip, by the way.
I haven't got the clip because I'm a nobody and they haven't given it to me.
I know, but
I've asked like 6 people for it and nobody's responded.
my mother wants to see it. My mother is in Auckland, New Zealand right now.
I will send you your
She didn't
mother
get to see it. Send it
the
to
screen
me.
recording of my mother's TV that my mom took. How about that?
That'd be great. I would appreciate it. What can I do for you today?
Yeah, it's NFL Week 12. You're almost out of it. We've only got 8 weeks left till the Super Bowl. No, more than that. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to move it along for you. I know you cannot wait for baseball season.
Yeah,
but
true.
As of right now, we got to get through it. And this week's card is a little less than desirable. I only have 2 bets placed for today, which is crazy. And our producer hates refs in the lower 1/3 of your name. And
false. Hey, I think the refs are the funniest part of the league.
No. The refs are the worst part of everything, whether it's college basketball, college football, NFL. I want everybody fired.
Did you see that before we go into the plays? Did you see that high school play in Texas where the ref called it a touchdown, even though it actually hit the ground, and the receiver just picked the ball up off the ground and ran into the end zone, and the ref was standing right there, and he just goes touchdown? I'll say
nothing surprises me anymore. Not after what I saw yesterday with my Kansas State Wildcats in Utah. John Murray almost didn't want to be my friend anymore after the text exchange, but
I watched that entire game. I watched that in a game that's 47-44. What's the most valuable thing? Possession of the ball. You don't just punt it back over there. All right.
Listen,
sorry.
We can bitch about my coaching staff that I've been bitching about all season long, but I would like to maintain the fact that there were multiple insane calls in that game. But this is NFL. I didn't get any sleep last night because I just laid there contemplating my existence, staring at the ceiling at my dad's house instead of actually, being prepared for today's show. We're going to have a great time. Almost 3,000 people have just tuned in to watch you. So as much as you don't think you're that important, they're sitting here in the comment section going, "Hey, chop, chop, John Murray."
I think they're watching you, Kelly. I'm pretty sure, but I'm happy to tell you. So what we took a very sharp wager this morning that I found interesting on, and I was excited to tell Ariel because I adore Ariel. Guy laid Baltimore minus 13.5, pushes up to 14. We need the Jets. I mean that's such a big point spread. It's not going to be as big as some of the other games, but we will need the Jets. Sharp money on Baltimore minus 13.5. Another really, really big underdog that we need today is the New York Giants. So the news with the quarterback being out for the Giants, you saw that number move up from 10 all the way to 14. We're going to need the Giants. We're going to need Jameis Winston. I love Jameis Winston. I'm not sure how happy I am to be rooting for him.
Yeah, I was telling my dad when we were talking about different names, Winston came up because I said I wanted Wrigley, Reese, and someone suggested Winston, and I go, "Oh my god!" And then I could tell everybody I named my dog after Jameis Winston. Unfortunately, Ryder is not smart enough to be a Winston, so we needed a shorter name so that we could actually get him to pay attention.
Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know. You guys just got Ryder.
The very first thing he tried to do was jump into the Jeep, and the door was closed, and he hit his head and fell back down. And I thought, "Oh boy, I did not pick the smartest one out of the bunch, but that's okay. I'm excied to be a new mom." Should have been Murray. Cool. I agree. Sean pushed really hard for his name to be Murray, but again, it didn't go. I like phonics. I like things that rhyme. I know. Okay, let's get right into these games because I need to know. There's got to be something less disgusting than you need the Jets and Giants today, right?
Well, I'll tell you somebody we're going to need big time in the afternoon that you probably wouldn't have guessed. We need the Raiders. So we've taken a lot of money on Cleveland +4, +4.5. One of the guys got in +4. Down to +3.5. We're gonna need the Raiders. That I'm not happy to hear. I'm not happy to share that information with you guys. That sounds horrible. Tonight we're gonna really need the Bucks. So look at the 2 primetime games this week. You've got 2 games where the point spread's about a touchdown. You're gonna have parlays rolling into both of those favorites. So the books are gonna really need both dogs. Tampa Bay tonight, Carolina tomorrow. A lot of wise guys everybody's on the 49ers. The wise guys are on the 49ers. The public is on the 49ers. We'll need Carolina pretty big. Sharp sides. I think I shared these on the show with Kelly this week. I can't remember. I probably did, but they bet Pittsburgh +3. They bet Arizona +3. I mentioned they bet Baltimore minus 13.5. They bet the 49ers, like I said. They bet Dallas +3.5. They bet Dallas +3.5. Dallas. That game's just like it's very similar to the Denver game last week where everybody's like, why is Kansas City only a 3.5 point favorite, 3 point favorite? Kind of the same way here. Eagles are down to -3 even money in Dallas this afternoon.
Well, good. That makes me happy because, like I said earlier with VR, my barking dogs on Bet On It have been absolute and utter amazing picks. My best bet.
How come you never share your barking dogs with me? What the hell, man?
Because you don't want to talk about NFL. I always share my college football barking dogs, and my barking dog this week in college football, John Murray, was Oklahoma State plus 410, and I want to vomit.
Hey, that was an easy cover.
Yeah, what is the fucking plus 410?
You are the money. First of all, I don't think you can use profanity on this show. All right,
I can do whatever I want. It's my show.
No,
Ariel's not here. I can do whatever I want. Listen, if we can talk about some of the things that I've seen them talk about on other shows, I can drop an F-bomb.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what that is a reference to. So I'm just going to move on from that. I'd say I'll give you one more sharp play that initially we saw the sharp guys, some sharp syndicates on the Saints early in the week. But when that number climbed up, it got as high as like plus a quarter on the money line. And then we did see some money come back on Atlanta. So I don't know why that game is being played at 4:25 Eastern in like the prime time slot of the day. Those teams are crap. You can say crap. But yeah, that's what I saw in that game. I saw sharp money on New Orleans, and then it got rejected by the markets. They bet Atlanta. Tough. That'd be a tough scene if you had to watch that game. Imagine watching that game.
Tease Atlanta. I haven't gotten the guts to do that yet. I also don't know if I'm going to tease the Patriots down. Did you guys see anything on that Patriots Bengals game? I know that everybody kept saying Joe Burrow, and I'm thinking no. And
no Burrow. We'll need the Bengals for a little bit. There's a lot of tickets on New England. New England is a really hot team. They have been for weeks. They win. I mean, they win every week. And they've been making money for the bettors all season. So, again, they bet them. But there's been some sharper groups on Cincinnati as well, especially at plus 7.5. So, I don't think it's a really big decision. But if you want to talk about a very public side, it might be the most public side of the week other than Detroit against the Giants.
Ooh, yeah, Detroit kind of makes a lot of sense, especially with that giant line move. I did play all the stale numbers. I bet in the Westgate Super Contest, it is absolutely everybody's going to play the Lions because you got a 3.5 point.
Well, yeah, and I'm in another contest in town, and we use Detroit -10. I mean, I think if you're in a position where you think if you were like way behind in the contest and you're trying to gain ground, maybe you could go Giants +10, try to be the contrarian there. We're doing fairly well in the contest. We're just outside the money. So we thought it made more sense to use the Lions -10.
All right, we're going to get one more question here. What are the needs for your totals? I always bitch about your needs. They're either 4-0 or 0-4, and today you gave us 6 of them, so that terrifies me after not having hardly any action on the NFL slate today. But you know what have done really well? Of these total needs, we had one losing week. I know because our producer Louis D'Onofrio and Ariel Epstein both share with me. Frequently, these go 2-1, if not 3-0. So give me your 3 biggest total needs for Sunday.
Wait a minute. Louis D'Onofrio produces this show?
You didn't know that? Should we bring him in?
I didn't.
Do you want me to add him to the stage?
I honestly didn't know that. I've been doing the show all year. Louis is a dear friend. I love Louis. He is the producer of this program.
He's usually really hungover, I'm guessing, because I never see his face on camera. He's just this little gray box that says Louis. And then he yells at me if I try to like touch anything or comment or move anything. So I just.
It's funny. I'm going to give you the total needs, but it is funny when you just bring him in. Like he doesn't know he's about to be on camera. And he's like a hungover mess.
He looks like a grizzly bear right now. Giant beard.
He's a kid. He's like 20 years old. Obviously, he's hungover on a Sunday morning. Give him a break. We're gonna need the Pittsburgh Chicago game to stay under. There's a fair bit of money on the over in that game. We're not there yet because it's still too early in the week, I guess. But I'm sure we'll need the game tonight to stay under and the game tomorrow to stay under. Talking about Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. That's just how those always get bet. I'm trying to find another good one for you. Oh, you know what? We need the Atlanta game. Atlanta, New Orleans. We'd like to see that one stay under the number. I don't know how anybody could watch that game. Like what? Go do something with your life. Don't sit there and watch Atlanta play New Orleans. Don't be a loser. Go Go for a hike. Go do something productive.
Well, I'll have you know, I was going to go over to
Go do
Grandma's.
something.
Grandma's a Saints fan and watch it with her, but maybe I'll convince her we should go to the beach
Yeah.
or something instead.
That sounds like a better use of your time, doesn't it? I mean, honestly.
Listen, Grandma's only got so many Saints games left, and that's what she wants to waste her time doing. I don't know.
We all only have so many games left, but you want to watch Falcons Saints on a beautiful Sunday afternoon? What are you talking about? No, I think that the Sunday night game will be decent because it looks like Tampa Bay is getting some people back.
Okay.
But the afternoon card, I think today is pretty weak. But I will say that it's one of the better morning cards we've seen this year. And there's some games where there's a lot of money on that Indianapolis game. I kind of skipped that game over, but only because we saw sharp groups on both ends of the game. We actually will need Kansas City for a little. It's not one of the big needs, but it's a bit of very, very well bet game. We'll need the Chiefs a little. Not going to be one of them.
Okay.
Not going to be one of the big ones. We always are in this position where we need these big underdogs.
Well, I think that's the thing. The comment section is asking what dogs, and it's like all the ugly ones. What do you mean?
Yeah. We need, and it's important that everybody understands too. We need one of them to win. We need one of them to win. We just need one of them.
That's my question then. So, like on some of these games that are 3.5, the Raiders, the Chiefs, if the game lands 1, 2, or 3, you guys are going to get middled.
Well, I don't think NFL games can land 1. I don't think that's mathematically possible. If the game were to land 2 or 3, yeah, that could be bad for us. I don't. The ones that really hurt us though, seriously, is when a game has been on 3 during the week. I'll give you an example. Arizona has been on 3. If Jacksonville were to win by exactly 3, that would be no good for us because you've got people that took Arizona +3 that would get their money back. And then all the Jacksonville bettors would be winners. So that'd be kind of exactly what we don't want is a game that's been on 3 to land 3 is no good.
All right, John Murray, you guys can catch he and I on Tuesday this week. Yeah. We're going to film a new episode of Kelly and Murray before he takes some time off. Much needed. I'm going to work on my birthday just for John Murray.
Well, no, hold on. You're doing it for my mom. Because mom's here for Thanksgiving. She's flying in from New Zealand for Thanksgiving. She wants to spend a little time with me. So you're doing it for my mom, not for me. But I still appreciate you working on your birthday. It's very nice.
Yes, I got to stay sober a little bit longer because Chris Thurston is going to be in town. And if I have to work till 5, that's perfect. I'll already be ready for dinner. We can go out for happy hour. Any earlier than that, I think he lands at 11 a.m. And that is my worst nightmare is day drinking with that man. John Murray, I hope you have a very profitable NFL Sunday. I know you hate the refs. Thank you for being here.
NFL is a great sport, and it's very entertaining. I'm looking forward to week 12.
All right, refs. I actually have been stalling because I wanted to get us to 4,000 viewers because the X was over, and I was really concerned that it was down, and looks like things are rocking and rolling now. So now we can bring in Marco D'Angelo, the star of Bet On It. You guys know him as the owner of the deli that has been just absolutely kicking ass all football season long. Marco, kudos on Penn State yesterday. I am very glad you talked me off Nebraska. If you guys watched the show, you would know that I am 1-7, I think, against Marco when we're head-to-head this year. And that one, I won Northwestern by the hook against said Nebraska team. So I have learned me and Marco are opposite. Kelly, that is probably a game you don't want to be on, at least not this season. So welcome in, Marco. We've got a ton of questions in the chat, and we've got about 20 minutes left of the show before the steam room starts. So we're just going to get right into it. Talk to me about some of these dogs. You know, the comment section is like, what dogs? And John Murray's giving me these godforsaken dogs named the Jets, the Giants, the Bengals. But, you know, on Bet On It, we do a lot of different things, whether it's situational handicapping, which is what the deli is, or trap games as well. So give me your number one deli pick for today so that people kind of know what to expect when they watch that video on Fridays when it comes out.
Yeah, well, one of the games that I did on the deli this week, and we'll go to it, it is that Sunday night game, Kelly, and you take a look at Tampa Bay and the Rams, and you talk about situational spots. The Rams are coming off of 2 monster games, back-to-back weeks. They played the 49ers 2 weeks ago, which is generally the team they always have to deal with to win the division. It's going to be one of those two. They took care of the 49ers, and if you remember, that was a big revenge game, because remember that Thursday night game? I watched it, and I still can't fathom how the 49ers, with like everybody on the roster missing, won that Thursday night game. So the Rams had a big revenge game. It was a game they needed to keep pace with Seattle, and they won it. And then who do they play the very next week? They play Seattle last week. And although, that was a game that the score really doesn't tell the whole story of that game, the bottom line is the Rams found a way to win. Seattle found a way to cover. That made me happy, but it was a big win for the Rams. It gave them sole possession of first place, and you beat your 2 competitors in back-to-back weeks. Now, I will say it is a Sunday night game, so that might keep them focused, but as far as situational, Kelly, this is a spot where they're supposed to have a little bit of a hiccup, a flat spot after those 2 big games, and Tampa Bay, with Baker Mayfield, back door is always going to be open. Okay, this team can score points. You've seen how many times they've come from behind. You heard John Murray say they needed the dog here. I think they're going to get it.
All right. I always love when the dog comes to play. And we know that's exactly what you're going to get from this Baker Mayfield-led Bucs team. Marco, let's kind of get into some more of these questions. We have a lot, and there's just a lot of games that, how about we say this? John Murray said this morning slate is better than it's been, but I feel like with these big numbers, it's just not that great. One of the things that you've been doing on Bet On It, instead of laying the big number, is looking towards the team total. Worked out well for you last week. This week, you gave out a team total as your best bet as well. Do you think that that is better than, say, now trying to make a case for a team or putting them in an incorrect teaser and so forth? I believe your best bet this week was the Lions team total over.
Yeah, actually, Kelly, we've used the team total best bets 2 weeks in a row. And I had a guy come in and said, I don't like team totals. I said, do you like money? What does it matter? You don't like betting team totals.
I don't care if you give me Mexican table tennis during COVID. If it's going to make me money, we're betting it.
Yeah. And here's the thing. And with Detroit, and especially after last week, we know what they do coming off a loss. Okay. They've been gold. All right. But you're paying a price for it at the window. They've inflated the number on Detroit. And then you had the news with the quarterback situation. So it got bet up even higher. But I'm looking at a Giants team that doesn't have a great defense. You've got a quarterback, or not a quarterback, a coach that is a bit of a, arrogant arse, let's say. And, he took a lot of heat again last week with going, what was he, 0 for 4 or 0 and 5 on, fourth down conversions, probably cost his team a chance in that game. And they only scored 9 points. Well, the weather had a part to do with that. Now they're playing indoors on a fast track, perfect conditions. You had Jared Goff come off a rough game, so he's going to want to make amends as well. And Dan Campbell, I refer to him as the bully on the schoolyard. He doesn't take his foot off the gas when he's got a lead. So you know what? I'm going to look at the team total. Now, when we put it out on Wednesday, it was 30.5. We jumped all over that. Now most places are sitting at 31.5 at normal juice, or you're going to lay heavy juice if you want the 30.5, because 31 is a key number on a team total. I still like it. I project them to have 37 points or more in this game against this Giants defense. But it's a different way of playing a game and playing a team rather than laying the point spread. But again, you got to know your coach and what his tendencies are. An Andy Reid, I don't like to take a team total because he's just the opposite. If he gets a lead, or a Mike Tomlin, if he gets a lead, they're going to run the football. Okay. They're going to shorten the game. That's not Dan Campbell's MO.
That is not Dan Campbell's MO, and we know that. A lot of questions here I was kind of sifting through because I want to touch on some of the games that we haven't touched on, whether with VR or with John Murray, before we get to some of these games that we've already talked about. We'll talk about that Cincinnati game without Burrow once again for you guys, but a lot of questions are asking about the Seahawks-Titans, another double-digit favorite on the road here. Marco, back in the day when I worked with Todd Furman, he's like, kid, you're not going to get rich betting these double-digit road favorites in general, but we've seen that shift. since I worked there, 15 years ago now, 13 years ago now, where these larger double-digit favorites are just coming in and steamrolling teams. Talk to me about this Titans team. Is there value? Is there any reason why you would want to take the Titans, or at least a reason to stay off the Seahawks?
Well, the reason to stay off the Seahawks, Kelly, is I'm going to go ahead and use that phrase, lose the same game twice. That was a big game last week, okay? And they should have won the game outright. Sam Darnold had a horrible game, 4 interceptions, and yet they only lost by 2 points, in that game. That's a situation where I think I'm concerned about Seattle. Knee-jerk reaction with people is automatically they're going to bounce back. Well, you know what? They can bounce back. This is a big number. You're laying over double digits. So they can win by 7. They can win by 10. You don't cover the game. Where I think you would have a better spot is the bread and butter of this team is their defense. There's no question about it. Sam Darnold's had a good year, but the couple games that they lost, he had some hiccups in him. And last week was horrible. Sam Darnold performance. So you might think they might be a little more conservative with the football this week, but I'll tell you, the reason they were still in that game last week after 4 interceptions was that defense. I don't see Tennessee moving the football in this game. This would be one where I would look at the under in the game, or again, you talk about team totals and know the tendencies and know what's going on. I might look at the team total on Tennessee under. That's another way to go in this game, but I don't want to lay the double digits with Seattle, but I'm not running to the window to take Tennessee either, if that makes sense to you. Sometimes the best bets you make, Kelly, are the ones you don't play. Because remember, if you win a game, you're going to win 1 unit. If you lose a play, you're going to lose 1.1. So if you save yourself a loser, it's better for you than actually having a winner, because you lose 1.1 units.
Yeah, and laughing, Marco, at the comment section right now, because everybody has lots of nice things to say to you. I think they're really happy about how well the deli and bet on it's gone this year. Years past, people have been really hard on Marco. Maybe he didn't deserve it. Also, they're talking about how skinny you're looking. I'm going to need you to eat some more food around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Got it, Marco? You can't be Marco, a skinny Marco Claus come bet on it Christmas show. All right, let's talk about a game that I haven't heard anybody talk about, because I just saw on X, the NFL tweeted that running back Josh Jacobs will not play against the Vikings. I haven't seen anybody talk about this game all week long, mainly because I don't want to back JJ McCarthy. And I understand that we're betting numbers, not teams, but at a point in time, we can't pass the eye test with somebody. We just say, all right, enough. I don't have a good enough read on this team. I was on the Vikings last week on the show. We talked about it on Bet On It, where I thought, hey, this is a good spot for them. It wasn't. Even when they had the opportunity to win, they still were not going to cover.
Yeah, Kelly, this is a game that I went back and forth on all week. And this would be the situation, because everything you said about J.J. McCarthy is absolutely right. But Jordan Love is not setting the world on fire either. Okay, that's the problem here. And do you really want to be laying close to a touchdown with Green Bay? And the fact that this has stayed at 6.5, it hasn't got to that 7, tells you that there's enough resistance to Green Bay that there is money on Minnesota keeping it not touching the 7. When we always talk about what do you want to do with the game, one of my adages that I like to say, if I'm getting the better defense getting points, I'm going to look that way first. So if you forced me into a corner to play this game, I probably would be taking Minnesota plus the points in this one. The situation as far as the total goes, Green Bay doesn't have a horrible defense either. Okay, I like Minnesota's defense better. The inconsistency of these two quarterbacks might tell you to look to the under. Also, what might tell you to look to the under is maybe the first half under, because we have two quarterbacks that have not been playing at their best. And this is a big divisional game. You don't want to make that first mistake. A lot of coaches will play a little more conservative, not to be the one to make the first mistake. So first half under might be the safer way to go, because so how many times have you had a stone cold under, Kelly, through 2.5 quarters, you're selling along way under pace of under, and all of a sudden one turnover makes it a 2-score game. and then it changes the game plan. The one team has to start forcing the issues, and all of a sudden you get a barrage of points in the fourth quarter, either because they do get the touchdowns or because they're forcing the issue. They make a mistake and you have a pick six or something going the other way and just absolutely destroy your under. So if you want to play for this one, let's go first half under Green Bay, Minnesota.
Ooh, okay. I kind of looked to see if Green Bay in a teaser was going to get there, and it does not look like it is going to come kickoff, but we do still have an hour and 10 minutes. Mark, I'm going to take a couple more questions from you before we get out of here so VR can start the steam room right here on this channel. But first, can you let everybody know what you got going on at WagerTalk.com? I already mentioned you do the deli. WagerTalk insiders get a premium access, early access on Thursdays to that episode. We're doing Bet on It. They can catch you on WagerTalk today. And of course, here on Last Call, because you're running hot. I always like to have the hottest handicappers here on my shows.
Kelly, running hot. This has been, we just turned 64 a week ago, and this has been one of my best years. We're on a 38-18 all sport run over the last 24 days. We're number one at WagerTalk and money one over that period. We hit our 5% play yesterday, and it was a game that shouldn't even have been close. We had to sweat it. It's why this dome doesn't have any hair on top of it, doing this for 46 years. Kelly, we had TCU yesterday. What a sweat with that one. 4 turnovers and 2 touchdowns called back, and somehow we still found the way to win the game. So that tells you that we definitely had the right side. Today, I've got a big 4% play going, along with some other plays underneath in the NFL. You can head over to WagerTalk and get that. We've got several specials going at WagerTalk for all the cappers. One of the most popular ones right now is you can get the rest of the football season, college and pro, all those bowl games, the playoff games, playoffs, and NFL through the Super Bowl for just $379. So check that out over at WagerTalk.
All right, we're going to take a couple more of these questions. It's really funny because I think Ariel must let these guys get away with this stuff. I would never bet a money line parlay, especially in the NFL, but they keep asking me for one. Marco, give me 3 favorites you think are going to win outright today for whether it's Survivor. Maybe that's the angle I'll play for Survivor, or that maybe the guys could put in a little 3-team money line parlay to get their little, their little fix. They got to scratch that itch, and I don't understand it.
Okay, Kelly, one thing I'm going to say to you real quick, and this is a learning experience for the moneyline parlays. You say you never want to play moneyline parlays. There are some times that you need to take a look where we all like to take teasers. And a lot of times people love, to tease that 7.5 point favorite down to 1.5 and so forth. Depending what you're pairing it with, a lot of times the moneyline parlay can make more sense than playing a teaser, especially if you're at a shop that you got to lay, which in Vegas right now, there are several that are charging you $135 for a 6-point teaser, which is ridiculous, but do the math. Put your teaser together and then pop the money line parlay into a parlay calculator and see where it's at. Sometimes you're going to be surprised the value is with the money line parlay. Now, for this week, obviously, talking about that, you've got a couple games that are sitting at 7, with New England against Cincinnati. We saw a lot of talk about this game and the Joe Burrow. I never was buying the Joe Burrow going to be playing in this game, but New England, I don't know why people want to step in front of them. They're a good team. This team is solid on both sides of the football, and Drake May, by far, is the best second-year quarterback in the NFL right now. It's not even close. That's a team that you got to look at. Sometimes when you're looking at a 3.5 point favorite, Kelly, and I don't want to lay the 3.5. I don't want to lay the money line because the sharp play books can have you could be laying anywhere from 165 to 180 on that. It's not a bad idea if you want to throw a team like that in there. I don't think Kansas City loses today. Okay. You're not killing a money line parlay by, making a 300 or 400, price money line favorite. So I don't have a problem with that. Too many people are going to take the Rams and the 49ers, as John Murray talked about. It seems like the books always get saved. Okay. That's why you got all those lights. One of those guys is going to probably lose Sunday night or Monday night. Which one will it be? Are you going to pick the right one? to put the money line parlay in. So be careful on that one. But, if I had to play Green Bay, I would play Green Bay on a money line parlay rather than laying the points in the game if I was going to get to the Green Bay side.
Okay, you guys got it. I hope that scratches that degen itch that you guys need. I'm going to stick with my -110 teasers, and you guys should ask for -110 teasers too at applicable places if you catch my drift.
Right.
Marco, I got 5 minutes left before VR goes to the steam room. WT.buzz/SR for steam room 1123 for November 23rd. I've dropped it in the chat several times for those asking. He's going to start as soon as we get done here. So I'm going to take Mark up to the wire because we've got over 5,000 of you guys watching now that all of the social media channels are up and running. So shout out to every single one of you. And especially shout out to our WagerTalk insiders, WT.buzz/insiders to join us $2.99 a month to become we'll call it a premium subscriber here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Marco, last thing you want to leave our audience with, you've got 3.5 minutes.
Well, I'm surprised that you didn't ask me my thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers game today.
Well, in fairness, I made you kind of go into it really in depth on Bet On It. So I was kind of hoping that the same guys here watch Bet On It. But if they didn't, tell me about Mason Rudolph now that we know for sure Aaron Rodgers is out.
I actually like it better with Mason Rudolph in there. And this is the thing. The locker room likes Mason Rudolph. And one of the reasons, Kelly, you talked at the start of the show, you congratulated me on the Penn State play. I told you they're playing hard for Terry Smith. They like him, and they wanted to get him a win on the home field in Penn State. And you saw all of the signs hire Terry Smith. The players are making, they're going to play hard for Mason Rudolph. And granted, and I heard the earlier segment where Ace said that the numbers favor Aaron Rodgers over Rudolph. There's no question about that, but you're talking about Aaron Rodgers the whole season. You're not talking about Aaron Rodgers, what we saw the last 2 weeks. This guy has been getting hit, and it's affecting him. He's turning away when he's throwing the football. He's not following through. That's why his passes have been high and wide. It's like a pitcher. You have to follow through. I hate to say it, he's scared to get hit right now. That's not going to happen with Mason Rudolph. And the other thing that you're going to have with Rudolph is more receivers are going to be involved in the offense other than just DK Metcalf. He's going to spread the ball around, and that's going to help DK Metcalf as well, because when other players start making plays, they can't always be double teaming him. I like Pittsburgh today, and I know the numbers bounced between 2.5 and 3. It's, a lot of places are 3, the more square shops because the overreaction. But I know, Kelly, I have them too. I've got Pittsburgh teasers in my pocket, as so do you.
Oh, yeah. You know it. I got them with the Falcons. Woof. I've got them with the Patriots, and I've got them with the Cardinals. It's not something that I'm happy about, but we got it. Oh, God.
Kelly, I'll give a free customer play out because you just named a teaser that I played and gave to the customers. I'm on Pittsburgh and Atlanta. I know the Atlanta's an ugly game. John Murray made fun of it. Okay. But somebody's got to win it. Kirk Cousins will be better than he was coming into the game last week. Again, we talk about the game plans with quarterbacks, Kelly. He is the polar opposite of what Michael Penix is. Okay. There's no mobility in his game, but he came into the game with that game plan. They'll have a different game plan this week. And you mentioned it last week on Bet Audit, and kudos to you. Remember, Atlanta was coming back from Berlin with no bye week. Those teams play horrible. They got, second week back in the States. We're going to see a better performance from Atlanta in this one.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here because we got to start the steam room up next with VR. Shout out to everybody who hung out with us today. Marco, last question. Are you going to be on End Zone Live, which also starts at about 12:45 with the press today?
Unfortunately, I will not be. I will be with a big plate of chicken wings and my buddies watching that Steeler game today.
You enjoy yourself. I'll be on End Zone Live next Sunday. I volunteer as tribute. Shout out to all of you guys. We're going to get out of here. Steam Room is up next.